Hello folks, this is Paul Pekoski with Online Business Pro Solutions, and today I'm going to share with you how to beat that paralyzing shiny object syndrome. Now, in case you missed my previous video with that illustrious title, Shiny Object Syndrome and Internet Marketing, you will be able to access it at the end of this video, and I'll also provide a link below. Now, before we begin, there are 3 points that I want to briefly discuss just in case shiny object syndrome is a new concept for you. So the first is, though it's not a medically diagnosed disease, it is a very real psychological vulnerability for you to become easily distracted. The second thing you need to realize is that if you do not get a handle on shiny object syndrome now, it's going to continue to impede your business ventures to the point where your online business may very well fail. And then the third thing I want you to keep note of is that because of your entrepreneurial spirit, as if you aren't already prone to chase new concepts, tools, and trends, looking for that next big thing, there are so many unscrupulous, sleazy internet marketers out there in cyberspace that will relentlessly entice you and bombard you with generally rehashed garbage, but they just wrap it up in all kinds of pretty, shiny packages. Now, I know it sounds like it, but I'm really not trying to depress you. But you need to be aware of just how serious shiny object syndrome can be and how disruptive it is to any chance you have at online business success. All right, well, folks, that's why we're here today. Now, I'm going to briefly share the root causes of shiny object syndrome, and then I'm going to provide you with their solutions. Hello, Paul with Online Business Pro Solutions. I thought I'd make a quick physical appearance on this video. What I try to provide with this YouTube channel are 2 things. 1, honest and informed reviews to help you make better purchasing decisions. And the other is value-packed tutorials with genuine insights that are going to help you avoid a lot of the perils and pitfalls that are waiting for you out there in the internet marketing land. Now, if you like this video, please do me a favor, hit that like button, give me a thumbs up. If you are sincere about starting a long-term, sustainable, and scalable online business, please consider subscribing. Now, if you're one of those take action, take charge kind of people and you want to get the ball rolling right now, do yourself a favor, click on the link below that says Online Business Pro Solutions, and you're going to get free access to my plan, my blueprint, what I use for online success. So don't forget to ring that bell. That way you get updated whenever I put out a new video. All right, let's get this party started. Take care. All right. Shiny object syndrome exists, because people tend to always look for external sources of opportunity. We're always looking for new tools, new offers, new coaches, new formulas. Like I mentioned earlier, that next big thing. We want to be on the cutting edge. And, that's not entirely bad if you keep it relatively academic. Just simply keeping updated on your niche market, on your industry. But it does become a problem when you impulsively act on every new idea, every new discovery, every new product, every new tool, every new expert, etc., etc. So, the big question is, why are we always looking for external sources of opportunity? Okay. So what we need to discover, what we need to look into are the root causes of shiny object syndrome. And that's what we're going to get into right now. Okay, what we're looking at right now are what I believe to be the primary causes of shiny object syndrome. First and foremost is that many of us, especially starting out in any type of new venture, have very little self-confidence. And, it can be one of these or it could be all of these that you're suffering from. And I think at any given point in time, we all go through any one or a combination of these things, really, in almost every endeavor in life. The other is not having any type of structure, any kind of game plan. And then the third is not having someone to follow, someone who's already been there, someone who has, blazed the trails, so to speak, that can offer, suggestions, guidance, tough love. And then the next one is having no team, no network, no one to collaborate with, no support group. And then the following one is limited skills. If there's tools that you need, even how to understand how to develop and write up a business plan and things, you need to learn to do those. Now, you can get that information and you can hire people. But once again, we're usually talking about trying to set something up on a limited budget. So limited skills definitely puts us in a position where we're vulnerable to buy these shiny objects. Quick fixes, basically. And that's the problem. Any one or all of these combined will put us in a position where we feel it's sort of poke and hope. We're hoping someone, especially these ones selling these done for you, products, basically set it and forget it. And they really don't work, but we get caught up in it all the time. I have many, many, many times over. Well, let's break these down individually. We're going to look at them as the problem themselves, but then we're going to look at how to solve this problem, or each problem. Okay, first one, no self-confidence. Now, once again, self-confidence, confidence, I actually am getting ready to launch several books, actually, but one of them is just based on nothing but confidence. So yeah, you can write books on this. You could have an entire channel on nothing but developing self-confidence. So this isn't going to be some massive webinar on how to build up your self-esteem. But here are some guidelines and some ideas to help you get some kind of forward momentum. First of all, I have never, ever been a strong advocate of the fake it till you make it concept, except when it comes to projecting confidence. I know this for a fact. I grew up very introverted, quite the wallflower. I watched my father, and he was extremely extroverted, and I saw the difference of how people reacted and responded to him versus people like me. And I decided I wanted a piece of that action. So I also always wanted to be an actor. So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to act like I'm full of myself and confident. There's a difference now between confidence and cocky. Now remember that. That's false bravado that is very easily read. But anyhow, I started projecting confidence, and sure enough, all of a sudden I became the go-to guy. And what happens is there's all these cliches. If they see it, you will be it. When people start responding to you positively, they start reacting to this confidence that you exude, it does make you feel better about yourself and feel better about what you're doing. And so you actually do start to develop some semblance of confidence. Now, this isn't the end all. I'm not in any way, shape, or form recommending that you build up some kind of facade with no substance behind it. Okay, this is just a way to step forward. Okay, even when you're timid, and actually when you're most fearful, that's the time you need to run headlong into the throng. Instead of standing up against the wall, jump out there and start talking to people. Okay. And we're actually going to talk about that in just a minute. The next, take positive action. It's the other thing I don't really like when people talk about positive thinking. Positive thinking. That's fantastic. But if you don't take positive action on those positive thoughts, nothing positive is ever really going to come from it. So it's all about action. It's all about making steps, but make micro steps, baby steps. You don't have to take massive leaps. Project confidence, take positive action means you're moving in the right direction. Don't get all upset because you don't get instant results. Keep your head down and keep moving forward. The next one, once again, these all sort of segue off each other. When we talk about, I'm talking about swing for the fence, but celebrate the base hits. Keep your eye on the prize, no doubt. Your goal is to set up a long-term, sustainable, scalable online business. But understand that this is not going to happen overnight. So every time you start to master a new tool, you set up a small sales funnel, you learn how to build a web page, or a squeeze page, or a landing page from scratch. Celebrate those successes. Celebrate those base hits. You're going to score more runs with those base hits than home runs, to be honest with you. That's just the way it works in sports, and basically it's how it works in life. So, of course, keep your eye on the prize, but celebrate the base hits, the small successes, and then move on. And the next thing to help your self-confidence is to engage, no matter how scared you are. Get involved. Now, I don't mean to get involved in social media where it's trivial and gossipy and things like that. You want to join groups that you get something out. One, that you can provide some input, but also that you're going to get something out of it, and maybe mutual support in a particular area. But it's just good to get out there, socialize, talk to people. Now, it's not so scary on social media because you don't really have to see the people. But I highly recommend you actually get out, talk to people about anything. I've got friends that are amazed that I can strike up crazy conversations with complete strangers, and they're like, "You have no fear." That's really not true. It really isn't. Although I don't now, but I used to. I used to be terrified to even approach people I knew, let alone strangers. Now I can strike up a conversation with just about anybody on any subject. So you will develop confidence if you engage. Okay. But that confidence, it's not just in yourself. Sometimes what you're not confident in is the fact that you don't, well, it is, I guess, not, you don't know what you're doing, but it's that you don't have a plan. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Okay. If you don't have a plan, if you have no direction, you have no template or blueprint, it's very difficult to be successful in anything. Because basically you're just wandering aimlessly, running around randomly. Okay, so some of the questions you have to ask yourself, and when you develop a plan, especially regarding online businesses, what's your budget? That's first and foremost. And I'm not just talking about money. We're talking time. Because actually one of the benefits of starting an online business is that you can actually start a successful online business on a shoestring budget. And then you'll need to invest more later down the road when you want to scale up. But by that time you'll be earning money. But there's a trade-off. You have to devote a lot of time. So less money, more time. Okay. Now, granted, if you have a massive budget, you can outsource right away. But to me, there's problems there because you're really not learning about the business. You're not learning the foundations. I think it's actually better for you to build it from scratch yourself to begin with, using minimal tools. And then when the time's right, you can outsource. Okay. You have to determine what is your niche market. Okay. And you're going to end up defining that down a little bit. You don't want to be such a large market that you're facing off with the big competitors. Okay. So, the heavy competition. So you are going to have to determine what your niche market is. Those are things you need to be thinking about. And the next is, once you've determined your niche market, you have to understand who you're trying to reach. Can you describe your ideal customer? Can you build like a personality profile for that, that perfect customer or ideal customer? In the business, we'll call that an avatar. And then what's your primary medium? Now I'm sort of combining a couple things here. One is, how are you going to present the content that you're offering your customers, your market? How are you going to provide value? Are you going to do it through a blog? Are you writing a book? Are you setting up a podcast? Are you going to do a YouTube channel, or a combination of those things? Okay. The next thing is, once you determine that, how are you going to reach out to them? Are you going to reach out to them? You're going to try and do it organically? Are you going to use paid traffic? Are you going to use social media, once again, or a combination thereof? These are all things you need to be thinking about in order to establish a plan. And then what specific tools do you need? And some of these other questions are going to help determine what tools you need, depending on whether or not it's a YouTube channel or a blog or a podcast or whatever. There are specific tools that you can and will need. And you do need to do some research on those to find the best tools, the best fit, and understand that's the point where you do want to spend a little bit extra money and avoid the shiny objects, because they are the tools of your trade. Okay. Now I put these in an order because one sort of leads into the next. Now, trying to develop a plan, you don't have a lot of confidence. Now I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you. What's your budget? Do you know what your niche market is? Can you do this? Can you do that? Well, this may be foreign to you, especially if you've never established a business or you haven't been dealing with the internet very long. This can be very intimidating, very scary, and that's why it is critical that you find a legitimate mentor, a coach, someone that can help you get over all the bumpy patches, can lead you through that maze. Okay. And there are legitimate mentors out there, but I have done it. I followed a couple different people early on because it's hard when you first get involved. It's very difficult to know who's really being honest. It's sort of hard to go back and go through all their records and figure out which are legitimate, which are just, props. Because, they all put up print screen accounts, but those are easy to manipulate. And I'm not calling out anybody in particular, just it happens, so there's some things you want to look for when you're looking for a mentor. And of course, first and foremost is someone that's honest. And to me, the easiest way to find someone that's honest is someone that's not always telling you what you want to hear. If they're telling you it's easy to get rich quick and that you can do it with just by a few pushes of the button and that, I'm telling you right now, they're not being honest. They're misleading you in every way and shape and form. So, but if they tell you, like I do, that it's going to be some hard work, it's going to be worth it. And it's actually a lot of fun once you get involved in it. But you are going to have to work, and you are going to have to sacrifice, if nothing else, time. Instead of going out, hanging out, having a few drinks, you need to be home writing your blogs or doing some research or putting together a video. Okay. So you want someone that's going to tell you like it is. I call it, they're going to use tough love on you. They'll critique you. It'll be positive critiques in the sense that it's there to help you move forward, but they won't just keep giving you attaboys just to get you to keep buying products. And that's the other thing. They're not going to continue to try and sell you all the time. Some of these people out there, they're marketing something new every month. If it's not their product, they're marketing one of their buddies' their products. And half the crap you don't really need. Even if it's a legitimate product, if you've already got a tool that's working, why do you need another one that's just like it or similar? So you want to find someone that's not trying to hit on you constantly. And we're going to touch on that in just a minute too. Proven track record. You can do some research. Some simple things is go to their Facebook pages, go to their social media accounts, find some of the products that they've done, go to the social media accounts on those and just see how many negative reviews they're getting. And to me, you can't vet 100%, but you can usually get a pretty good feel for them, overall. They have to be accessible. That's the other thing. If they're going to be your coach or your mentor, your direct line of contact, as far as support to getting your business up and running, they have to be accessible. So you need to be able to contact them through Skype, through email, through phone, through however they want to set it up. But they can't just get back to you once every month or something like that. They have to be, and understandably, they're not going to be able to answer the phone every time you call, even if it's 3 a.m. or something like that. But there should be some kind of reasonable amount of time that they're able to get back with you. So you want to question them in that and make sure that they're going to be accessible to you. And then the other thing is, I call this a transparent value ladder. And basically, a value ladder is that when you bring on a client, and you start off usually small, with a smaller product, depending on where they're at. They may already have a lot of the things that you're offering, so they jump in a little higher up in your value ladder. So like if you have a series of products, now those products, generally speaking, if you have a value ladder, they all segue off each other. All the tools, all the products that you have, they support each other and expand. So basically, if you're trying to scale a business, and someone comes in with you, they start on the bottom and they buy this product and it gets them to this point. And then the next product helps them expand and scale on that success. But every product that they offer you should be a complete package. You shouldn't have to get the other product. Only if they decide they want to scale up, then at that point, then you would have a bigger product, and because it might be something where it's one-on-one coaching and things where you're helping them develop certain things and they're going to have to spend a lot more time. So of course it's going to be more expensive. But if their products and their recommendations to you are just all over the place, that's not a singular value ladder. That's just a poo-poo platter of affiliate products that they're just spamming you with. That is not the kind of person that you want to be mentored by. All right. So we find a legitimate mentor or coach. Now, generally speaking, they come sort of with a team. A lot of times because they already have a group of people that they're working with. And generally speaking, they give you access to that team. But I can't tell you how seriously important it is to have a good team, a good network of support out there. Even and you might occasionally find that one lone wolf mentor that really doesn't develop the social side of things, but technically they're very, very good at what they do. At that point, then you need to go out and find your own team. And generally speaking, the best way to do that is through social media. But here are some things that I think you need to look at when you're looking for a team and you're assessing teams. First of all, they have to have good leadership. Okay. Now, in the sense of the group that I work with, my mentor is Philip Borelman, and I belong to a group called Digital Nomads, which works directly with Philip Borelman. So it is sort of a built-in thing. But there are, like I said, cases where there may be a separation. But in our case, I already know the leadership is strong. I already know and have complete and full respect for Philip Borelman. And since I've gotten to meet them, everyone that has joined the Digital Nomads is just a fantastic group. So that was a one and done for me. But you definitely want to make sure, if you do join a team that's not directly related to your mentor, you sort of want to check out whoever the ringleaders are of the group and get a feel for them and look at them just like you would and assess them just like you would a good mentor. Okay. The team needs to be organized and results oriented. They do have to focus quite heavily on business, but have some kind of approach, some organized approach to how they do things. You definitely want people who are supportive and positive. Once again, there's going to be critiques because what you want to do is be able to share, like maybe before you launch a product or before you put out a blog or a video, you share it with a group and the group gives you feedback. Now, it's not always going to be, yeah, that's awesome, or it might be, hey, that was really awesome, but you might want to try this, you might want to try that. It's constructive criticism, positive. You definitely want that. But you definitely want people that support you, not that are vying to be top dog in the team or something like that. You don't want that kind of, you just don't want that kind of atmosphere. Personally, I think it's good to have a very diverse background. All genders, creeds, ethnicities, you name it. The more perspectives, the more viewpoints you get, the more worldly your group is, I think the stronger you become, the more you learn. You also tend to reach out across like these subconscious boundaries, so to speak. So I think a diverse group is a great benefit too. And you need to have a group that everybody contributes. You're only as strong as your weakest link. And actually, I don't love cliches, but that's a good one. I think everybody needs to get involved, or else other people in the group start feeling like, well, why am I putting out so much effort? Nobody else seems to be getting involved. So it becomes a much stronger group when everyone contributes and shares their fair share. And I think a very important thing to do is, at the end of the day, it needs to be a fun group. They have to have a sense of humor. You need to enjoy each other's companionship, actually. It's not just about business. And nobody ever said that business couldn't be fun. It doesn't have to be cutthroat. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. It can be a very positive thing. So you definitely need a team. And then last but not least, limited skills. One of the reasons people are always out trying to find shiny objects, is I think a lot of us become, what do they say, a jack of all trades, master of none. Of all the tools that I bought, of all the products that I bought over the years, if I really do a true inventory, I have probably only looked at maybe 50% of them. Most of them I never even downloaded. I never even looked at after I bought them because something else caught my eye and I went on to that, and then I got busy and then life took over. And then by the time I thought about it and went back to it, you know, it was already, there were already new upgrades and life had passed it by. So if you spend the time to actually open the products that you do purchase and learn to master those things and you know, go through all the training and try them out and find out how to make them work best, you won't have time to buy shiny objects. But like we said at the very beginning, you know, you need to determine, and you can do that if you have a mentor, you know, they'll help you, and a team, because now you've got the collective strength of everybody sharing all the different tools and that they've used, what's worked, what hasn't worked. You're not just alone out there flailing around trying to figure out what you need. So once you determine specifically what tools you need to master those tools. And I guarantee you, you're going to need a good page builder. You're going to need an autoresponder. And then depending on whether or not you do the YouTube thing or not, you know, there's other things you may need. But just those two things alone, I'm telling you, you could spend almost a lifetime mastering those things. You really could. So if you take the time to do it right, instead of running around, wasting your time, allowing yourself to be distracted by all these other tools, learn how to use the tools that you do purchase. And once again, I highly recommend that, you know, if you look at some of these shiny objects that we talk about, these products are generally built on a foundation of a legitimate product, like some type of cheap, say, page builder. Now it's a third-party licensed page builder that's pretty generic. Doesn't necessarily probably have all the bells and whistles of the big boys, but it would do the job for what they're recommending for its use. But the problem with that is, first of all, you don't know if it's going to be around a year from now or 2 years from now. And also, why get something when that tool is so critical to your business and to your success? Why would you buy this cheapie? And what's even more ironic is, yes, you start by paying $17 or $27 for this, and that sounds like a good deal. But by the time they entice you into all the upgrades, you just went and spent $200, $300, maybe $400, $500. For that, you can have the best of autoresponders and the best of page builders. But you frivolously wasted that money on a cheap and tawdry product that is not going to benefit you in any way, shape, or form. So you look at chefs, you know how much money they spend on knives, you know, because those are the tools of their trade. You know, talk to carpenters, you know, machinists, anybody. You start talking tools with them, you know, it's sort of like, what is that, Tim Taylor, Tool Time? You know, it's like, you know, they get excited about it. And they're very serious about the tools of their trade. You need to be serious about this if you are serious about starting an online business and trying to be successful. So once you determine the tools, and I highly suggest you buy good tools from trustworthy companies and people that have been around a long time, you master those tools of your trade. Okay. And as long as they're doing the job, as long as you're not having massive issues down here in a second, don't replace or add other tools. As long as what you've got is working, why would you continue to replace it? Why would you stop everything in its tracks and start over again and again and again? It's a vicious cycle and you're chasing your tail. And the next is to seek out immersive training. And what I mean when I say that is something that you can immerse yourself in, something that's going to hold your interest. So I use GetResponse. I use PowerPoint. I use Thrive Architect. I got certain tools. And I watch their videos. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes Their videos are very dry. They're very mechanical. Not all of them, but some of them. So I go to outside sources. YouTube really is a fantastic tool to use. I mean, you can find out, you got to find the right ones, but you find people that you can relate to. You find people who are doing tutorials that you can follow well, that it makes sense to you, that it's entertaining, so that you actually want to learn to do this. So seek out the training that you need, that speaks to you, so that you'll be able to learn how to use those tools better. All right. Once again, we come back to the primary causes of shiny object syndrome, and we just covered these. Each and every one of these unto themselves are primary causes and reasons why we tend to go to external sources for opportunities. You have to understand that you have to create your own opportunities in life. And all those shiny objects out there, all those cheap, get-rich-quick scheme type products really aren't going to do the trick at all. They're just going to keep you in a downward spiral. You're just going to throw good money after bad. So you need to work on your confidence. You need to develop a plan. What can help you with those things is to find a good mentor. Find a good team. Once you've determined and you have a plan and you know what tools you need and you've acquired those tools, learn how to use those tools. Learn the skills necessary. If you're going to do YouTube videos, practice makes perfect, but you need to work on your public speaking skills and things like that. You've got plenty to do. You don't need to be looking for shiny objects. You'll have more than you can handle as it is. And I should have added one thing on here. You need to unsubscribe. You need to clean up your email lists for sure. There's no doubt. Get some of that out there, because those become distractions unto themselves. And the irony is, so many of those products, those shiny objects, they're trying to convince you that it's a good idea to spam other people. So the very people that are distracting you are trying to get you to work for them, distracting other people. So at some point, you've got to draw a line in the sand and just say no. Mantra: no shiny objects. No shiny objects. Step away from the shiny objects. All right, folks, that's a wrap for today. So if you like this video, please hit that like button and give me a thumbs up. And if you are sincere about creating a long-term, sustainable, and scalable online business, please consider subscribing. Now, if you're one of those take charge individuals, you want to get the ball rolling right away, do yourself a favor. Click on that link below that says Online Business Pro Solutions, and you're going to get free access to my plan, to my blueprint. Okay. And hey, don't forget to ring that bell so you don't miss out on any new videos. Okay, folks, please, please, please stay away from those shiny objects. If you have any questions, please place them in the comment section below. And you can also reach me through my Skype, username pwolf77, email address paul@onlinebusinessprosolutions.com. Hey, you all have a great day and a great week. Take care.